reject water installation here and another digester here. And in this area, they have a garage in which is the thermal disintegration plant. The wastewater treatment plant of Grevesmühlen used to have on the water line 45,000 PE capacity and is currently expanded to 65,000. Half of it, or a little bit less than half of the 45, so let's talk 20,000 inhabitant equivalent comes from population, and the other comes from industry, and the main industry is a dairy company, which gives to Grevesmühlen a nice relation of COD to air. So it's a very COD-rich wastewater. Then we decided in '95 that we have a central sludge treatment, and to the utility company belong also 3 other major treatment plants, which is Boltenhagen, Dassel, and Lüdersdorf. Boltenhagen and Dassel each have about 20,000 PE they treat, and Boltenhagen is also where we send our wastewater to right now here, because it's on the other side is the next village. And Lüdersdorf has about 10,000. So altogether it's another 50,000. So the sludge treatment has a capacity of about 100,000 PE. Then, due to that, we have a lot of hotels and restaurants here. We started with very early co-digestion, and we also get the flotation sludge from 2 dairy processing plants and 1 bread company, which are major contributors. There's other also to take it forward. Well, the production, I think we're German champion there with a little bit more than 200% of electricity of what we consume on the wastewater treatment plant, and that covers up for 97%, including all pumping stations and the waterworks. And from that, we get about 100,000 euros a year, what we get as energy savings. You see this year we started at 98 with the co-fermentation here, and we reduced the, this is a Luste field, we reduced the the electricity bought from the electricity company. The red and the yellow one is our own production. The yellow one is what we produce, which we did not consume on the wastewater treatment. And you see in 2005 it was about 130%, and we got some more stuff to digest, and we operate our digester with about 13 days of retention time, and that's pretty much the end where you get a stable operation. That was also motivation for looking how can you, or what measures can you take to increase a little bit your retention time. Okay, now let's get back to a little bit. The basics of sludge treatment or sludge disposal is that a wastewater treatment plant that cannot dispose its sewage sludge, environmental sound doesn't make any sense. We know that from Karl Imhoff from 1925. So dried sludge is for any sewage plant operator the ideal situation. He can store it. It's mostly reduced in quantity and weight. It has a certain caloric value, so everything is nice for him. But the drying of digested sludge is pretty cost intensive. So when you look at that as a future for us, we have to incinerate it. They want to cut us out of the agriculture use no later than 2025. So you got to think now what you're going to do. And so drying is going to be an issue for getting, it doesn't really make sense to look at pumps and increase them from class 3 to class 4 and save maybe 0.5% of electricity consumption and just waste about 1/3 of the energy, which is chemically in the sewage sludge just for drying. So we have to, this is just where we really can make savings. Okay, so the task of optimizing the sewage sludge treatments are the increase of the degree of degradation in anaerobic digestion. You want to have less dry matter and more biogas. And you want to improve the dewatering characteristics. You want to have less sludge and less water to evaporate. Well, that leads to some sewage sludge disintegration to look at least it. So what do you want from sewage sludge disintegration? Well, you want the destruction of all still intact cells in your digested sludge. You want to make available the cell juice for the anaerobic degradation, and you want to improve the dewatering characteristics of the sludge. You want to have a decomposition of sewage sludge components, especially those which have a water binding capacity, in making the sewage sludge components available for anaerobic degradation, and you want to improve the dewaterability due to a reduction of the water binding capacity of sewage sludge combinations. Well, Pinnekamp, he is now professor in Aachen since years. He observed already in the 1980s that biogas production could be increased by thermal disintegration and demonstrate the potential of the thermal sewage disintegration. Why do I see this in here? I think there's something below that says he found out that in the range of 140 to 160 degrees, you get an increase of about, I think, 30% of the sludge if you look at waste activated sludge, or the excess sludge. I think in the primary, it doesn't give, it's not really, because you don't get any effect on the degradation in primary sludge. Well, I always liked this long before Haarslev came up and asked me if I could find a place for them to put a demonstration plan. So I got a student in 2006 making those experiments on the basis of what Pinnekamp did. And we investigate the influence of a thermal pre-treatment on the surplus sludge on anaerobic digestion. Well, you know, we just took the sludge, put it into an, what's these things are called, a sterilizer, you know, heated it up to once 120 and later 140 degrees centigrade, and just put it later in bench scale digesters, which you see here on the picture. This is what the digester looks. Other people use that to store their coffee in their kitchen. I use it since it's cheap as a digester. This is my gas holder tank. And this is the water, the displaced water, which I measured in order to detect the produced gas. And this is S4 part. This is a little bit different setup. But well, that's what we did. And I first show you the results from the 2006. And later we come back when we did it with the 2014. The difference in the Haarslev and Cambi process to the Luste process is that if you work with steam, you have a sudden expansion of your sludge from 6 bar to 1 bar, and that leads to cooking all over the place. And it's in a valve, if you expand from 6 bar to 1 bar, that's probably not really nice to the bacteria. So I think that's a totally different cell destruction as if you just take it out and let it cool and then heat exchange. Well, what you see here is with 120 degrees, you just hardly get any effect. That's what we observed. With 140 degrees, yes, you see a significant effect. I think that's as much as you can get out of bench scale experiments. You shouldn't be too just take that, that's just orientated indicator. And I believe that makes sense because we have 130 degrees of sterilizing temperature. Once you're below it and the other time you're above it. Well, you know, they didn't choose 130 degrees for sterilization because they didn't know it better. Well, this is the Haarslev process. It's pretty much the same from the process engineering as you saw in the Cambi process. We have a dewatering that reduces, of course, the amount of sludge what you put in your digester, but you, of course, increase the viscosity. You wouldn't put dewatered sludge into a digester. Well, by cooking it, it loses a lot of, because you destroy the cells, it gets much more fluid. It gets like, you know, like hot jelly more or less. It flows. You can't put it like that in a digester, but you can raise the dry matter content in the digester considerably. If you dilute it 1-to-1, and then you're just not having the feed like 6% dry matter, you can get up to 9% easily without it getting into problems. What is as a result, you will have the same viscosity in your digester, Okay, so we put it in, you'll see this tomorrow. This is submarine technology because we didn't have any space there. This was originally And that's what happens with primary plants. This was originally planned just as a storage tank. We now misuse it as a preheater. From the preheater, we go into a sluice. That's a little bit different than the combi process. We have just a small sluice where we, what we call pressurizer, where we just heat up always small amounts of like 50, 70 kilograms of sludge to almost temperature, which we have in the reactor, and then we push it with the pressure of the vapor into the reactor. So we don't have any pumps there that really need to work under high pressure or high temperature. And then everything else moves only by the vapor pressure. Then we have in the reactor a retention time of about 30 minutes, and we operate the reactor at 140, 160 degrees. Right now we normally operate around 150. I like to lower it to 140 in order to reduce still the amount of refractory COD, as a poor degradable COD. After it's cooked in the reactor, the reactor is controlled the level, which open the valve and expand it into the economizer tank. The economizer tank gives us, that's operated at normal pressure, so we have 100 to 110 degrees centigrade there, and we get half of the heat we put into the sludge, we get back as vapor, and we use that for preheating the sludge as it comes from the watering up to also the same thing as combi 90-95%. Okay, from there we have another option. We can go into a flash tank and even lower the temperature. That's done with a vacuum pump to go down to 60 degrees centigrade. If you operate with waste-activated excess sludge, I do not recommend that, because you can go with 100 degrees centigrade. You can just mix it with digested sludge down to maybe a 60 degrees centigrade, then you have no problem. It's then diluted, it's easy pumpable, it's not too hot for any pumps, and then you can in the 60 degrees you get cool with your primary sludge, and then you can just operate fine your digester without heating it almost. So that's very easy. The other thing is we still want to investigate, we haven't done that so far, if it makes sense to disintegrate also the digested sludge, because we have here 3 digesters. We can operate them 2 parallel, just like our normal digesters, and then we have a third for post-degradation, because that might even reduce the refractory COD we get, because if you digest it first, you already reduce the organic matter by half, so you're just not cooking, you just cook half of the organic matter, so it should reduce also the formation of refractory degradable COD. Well, that's the plant. That's now how it looks now. This is our garage right there. This is photos from Grevesmühlen, and this is a photo from the installation in Landshut in Poland. And you see that's a nice big building where it's in. It's in the corner. But this was planned for a competitor's installation. So getting this to an almost quasi continuous process. You save a lot of space and a lot of installations, and makes it a little bit cheaper. Okay, our bench scale results, they were, I think, this was discontinuous results, just putting it in, leaving it for 9 to 16 days. And I guess this was a little bit unusual sludge, something didn't went well here. But on the general thing, you see, with 140, we get something like 20%, and with 160, we get something like 30%. Of more biogas. This is all you can read out of bench scale discontinuous trials. Then we went into continuous operating trials, and you see here this confirms. I can't really explain that that's what happens. Why the 140 degrees treated sludge did not give as much gas as it should have, because it was really close to the 160 mark. So I'm still optimistic that in the long run you can optimize this process. Okay, this was another thing. We redid that because in the first thing we just did not dilute the surplus sludge, so we operated at a pretty high solids concentration, almost in the digested sludge we had, I think, 8 to 9% solid. So then the mixing in the lab scale is a little bit difficult. So we, in the later thing, we diluted it to 5% of dry matter. Then we had very clear this increase of 30%, which is also documented in the M302 for another. This, then we shifted over to color scale. Since I think it's pretty difficult, you know, to make a full scale. Also, I object against full scale parallel experiments. In my 30 years I've been working, I've never had a good result with full scale parallel experiments, because full scale always something happens that ruins your results. So, you know, you just, because of full scale, you just have to take it as it comes. You have a full scale operation, you can play around. Well, so I'm really a fan of pilot scale. It's a lot cheaper, and in pilot scale, I can do what I want, and not what I have to do. So that's a really difference for finding out results. So I'm really a fan of pilot scale. So I made lots of field things for a DBU research project. And we operated because the plant wanted to see the mixed sludge. I would have rather had one with mixed sludge treated and with mixed sludge non-treated. But okay, this was a consent to the utility company. And then we had untreated surface sludge and treated surface sludge. Well, we got more or less the same results, because this is the difference between the untreated and the treated. And this is, of course, you can't really compare it, but it has a nice gas production, pretty high, because it's mixed with a certain co-fermentation. So it has certain grease sludge in there, so it has to be high, and it is high. But you can't really quantify the effect by the disintegration. What we found out between the surplus sludge is again at 27.7%, and we had also increase in volatile salts degradation of 11%, and you can calculate that that corresponds pretty nicely. So, you know, it's better to always stand on 2 feet and not just on 1 foot. And bend scale, that's you have a higher difference in there. Okay, and then we had to go into full scale. They wanted first a performance test. So we had to run the hydrolysis plant at full speed, full capacity, but the digester later didn't realize that. We had a decrease of gas production, we had an increase of volatile acids. So we stopped for 2 weeks after that, and then we just did it at a slow pace. 30% of disintegrated sludge, then 67, and other 1/3, 2/3, and then full thing. This is what the different phases show you here. This is, I think, 1, 2, 3, and this is when it was at full speed. So you see here how much of the sludge we added. It takes time to acquire, and this is more than we expected, because what we did calculate on the gas production, we looked at the different sludge types here, because we have so much co-fermentation. So the little gas production in the waste activated sludge anyhow doesn't give you much gas. And even if you increase that by 1/3, in the baseline from the primary sludge, and in this case of the large co-digestion, it just makes only should only increase by 6% the gas production. So it's really hard to measure that. If you just have an ordinary, if you don't have co-fermentation, you can expect an increase of 15%. Up to now, full-scale installations report more to much more, which I can't really follow. But this is a problem if you have a full scale, because things are never constant. And this then is not full scale parallel, it's full scale before and afterwards. So you really have to be careful what you compare. And what was more interesting in the full scale thing is what happens to the ammonia, what happens to the refractory COD, and what happens to the with the dewatering results. So you see, in the ammonia, it's not really that much. It also could be calculated that this was exactly the 11, the 1/3 more degradation of the surplus sludge. That covers pretty well with the increase of about 600 to 800 at full capacity. Then the COD, that was in the first phase. You see, we have here still the effect of that we had of our capacity test. So the the digester was not really in good shape, so here he got in a good shape for 30 days, and then 2/3, and then it was full what we did. But there's a significant increase from 300 to 800 milligrams per liter. And this is also, if you calculate that on the water, some of it is degradable, and that's what all other full-scale installations report about an increase of about 5 milligrams of COD in the effluent. This is what you have to live with if you will have a thermal disintegration. Okay, then we got a centrifuge from, this was in this case from Hiller, and we tested it, and we got from 25% to 33%, and an increase, so more than 8% increase in the dry matter of the dewatered sludge. And that is pretty, and we use even less flocculant. We were surprised at that. And this was constant results. And, well, that was nice. Because that means you have about 1/3 less of dewatered sludge to dispose of. And what's even more decisive is, well, you can put it in a belt dryer. I'll skip this here because this is also a product of the Haarslev cells. So put it in the presentation here. I'd rather come to here. What does this mean, what I told you now? What means you have a biogas production, you can have an increase of up to 25%. Well, this is a little bit, I think it's more, definitely it's 15. But other plants report up to 30, so I think we also measured in the last phase 35, so I agreed to put on 25. I'm not quite convinced. Okay, definitely can reduce the digester volume by 1/3. That's really a lot of money if you have to build a new plant. And if we consider that in China every week a big plant has to go online if they want to get their water cleaned up to, I don't know, 2,200 or something, then this is a lot of money you can save. Dewaterability of +8% means that you have 35% less sludge to handle, and and you have almost only half of the water for drying if you dry full drying up to 90%. And that means that with even a slight co-fermentation, you can get if you get as much gas by co-fermentation that you get 100% that you produce 100% of the electricity you need for your plant operation with standard values, then you can produce enough heat to dry your sludge with a belt dryer, for example, with the waste heat from the CHP. And I think that's what we have to go for. That the sewage treatment plant has to produce a dried sludge which you can incinerate anywhere. In Germany, I think it might be even a good idea. We need to reduce the phosphor still. We have to find a process, and there are several processes in development to reduce the phosphor. And then you can sell this stuff to cement factories because they don't like the phosphorus or the phosphate in our sludge. But then you can use heat. You have disposable 100%. That would be, I think, the most sustainable you can get it. Well, thank you very much.